Hey guys, Youngblood with you, and what I wanted to do today was actually showcase a little piece of hardware that I got sent to test, and it's from a group of guys that started a Kickstarter campaign for the Cyndr Sentry. Now what this device is it's a spatial awareness device that basically gives you a notification on your computer that somebody is approaching you. Now the target audience for something like this is actually pretty wide. You know, it could potentially be for people that are working on confidential information in an office setting and they can't have anybody that's coming up to them and see what's on their screen. It can also have applications for people that are deaf or hard of hearing that just don't want to be spooked. And the reason that I'm talking about it today is primarily because I don't ever want to do content for you guys that's not going to be relevant to the audience base of the content that we're creating here, is for VR applications or virtual reality. And if you think about the scenario that you're in when you're doing VR, you've probably got your headset on so you can't see anything in your surroundings, and you've got your earpieces on or your headset on, meaning you can't really hear what's around you either. You're really kind of in a vulnerable spot, and I don't like the idea of being snuck up on. Outside of not being able to see my desk, which is kind of being addressed by like Vive, where you can pass through and use the cameras on the front to see. For me, the being not knowing what's around me is something I don't really like. I'm not real comfortable with. So something like this does address that. Now what this device does, and you can see here, it's a really small, simple device that just plugs in through a USB, and I believe it uses IR to really determine if somebody is approaching you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually get this set up and kind of showcase how it works, but ultimately what it's going to do is it's going to identify someone approaching you based on your settings, and based on those settings is going to give you a visual and or audio notification on your screen that will kind of give you the heads up that something is happening. So to give a real-world test of what this may be like, I wanted to kind of show you an example walking towards the Sentry. So for example, if you're playing in a different room and you want notification that somebody's heading your way so you're not spooked when they arrive, I set the Sentry out in the hallway to give me a notification. So simulating the person that's actually going to be walking towards you, I'm coming out of one room, and I don't know if you heard that beep, but it's already showing right there that I'm coming. You can hear it notifying in there. And I'm getting the alert on my screen right there. Come here, Dodge. Good boy. So when it comes to the Sentry's software, it's actually a really easy setup, primarily because it comes zipped with this software already included. So when you open up the GUI or guided user interface, you end up with this really simple, small little program here. Now from here is where you can start making adjustments to things like the notifications or sound effects. So for example, right now if I do the test indicator, I've got it in the bottom left hand corner, playing this quiet sound showing up for 3 seconds. Now you can, make whatever changes you want. For example, you can, choose different locations. Maybe you want it to pop in the center. Maybe you want it to actually be in the bottom right. It doesn't matter. You get the flexibility to choose where you want it to go. But I think the more important changes that are actually in here are within the advanced toggle, where this is going to be your kind of sensitivity. So, for example, when you've actually got the Sentry set up, and I actually unplugged it for right now, but when you actually trigger a movement, you get a wave that runs through here. So it needs to break these barriers in order to actually trigger an event. So if you've got it set down here, it doesn't take much, meaning it is on the highest sensitivity setting. But if you've got it set around here, a wave has to be strong enough to actually penetrate one of these top or bottom lines, which isn't going to give you an alert. So that's kind of a personal preference, and that's how you end up setting that distance that you want, but I think for most of you it's probably going to be on the max. Overall, the Sentry is a neat little tool that from my testing has worked out really well so far. Now in full disclosure, I don't have a VR setup yet, so I've had to create a test bed scenario here and there to really simulate everything, but it's performed well enough to eliminate at least one blocker for me when it comes to moving into that virtual reality landscape. One thing to keep in mind is that this product is in early development, so things like price and distribution haven't really been worked out yet, at least to my knowledge, and with this being fairly early in the product lifecycle, I'm not really endorsing or trying to encourage you to run out and buy this product, but it does have enough application to those of you who are interested in virtual reality or already using virtual reality, and it seemed like a good thing to share with you all, and it may be worth following if it continues to move forward. So they're planning a Kickstarter campaign to go live in the last week of June, so I've included a website and other informational pages in the description of this video, so if you do have interest in the product, you can certainly check it out, or if you have questions, you can communicate with the creators in those venues since they're the ones developing and they're the experts on the product. So that's going to be it for this video, but stay tuned for a whole lot more content coming soon. I'll talk to you guys later. Take care.